Oh, we've got a caller. Let's see what's going on. Hello, this is Ken. No way. Sinead? No cause? Not surprising. Yeah, I've got some old clips I had to pull down because they didn't have intros. I'll get them up there. R.I.P. Sinead. Shoot.
O'Connor was a classic wayward youth until she discovered an emotional outlet in music. She made a major splash in 1987 with her debut album, The Lion and the Cobra. But the record that took her to #1 in the States was her spellbinding cover of a Prince song, originally recorded by the family, called Nothing Compares to You. That single and its mesmerizing video helped boost her second album, I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, to #1 too. But despite her youth and celebrity, O'Connor remains one of the more down-to-earth pop stars. She's been known to puncture the puffed-up bubbles of such rock gods as U2 in interviews, and she says she's more interested in her baby son Jake than she is in the music business. Such frankness is definitely refreshing. Do you have a sense that people approach you too seriously sometimes? I mean, they think your image is too serious and you're talking about such serious things. Do you find an awestruck approach to you when you're going out and meeting people?
I think that it's a fact that anybody in this business people have preconceptions or misconceptions of people who they read about in the papers a lot, or they see on television a lot. They can't see you as a real person, and they're immediately in some way nervous or intimidated by you. Yeah, but the songs I write are pretty serious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not really, I'm a serious person, but there's also,
there's a lighter side, I'm sure, isn't there?
Which I have a hard time getting through to people.
England's nothing mythical, and Madame George and Roses, it's the home of police who kill black boys on mopeds, and I love my boy, and that's why I'm leaving. I don't want him to be aware that there's any such thing as grieving.
Black Boys on Mopeds, you're talking about something I think a lot of Americans aren't aware of. It's sort of the racial situation in England. I think we always think of England as being very kind of jolly old England, but it's not really like that, is it?
It's not really. The level of racism doesn't seem as apparent as it is in America, but it does exist and it does happen, and the police have the same record for racism and brutality as they have here.
Is this song based on an actual incident of some sort, or is it just a generalized what happened?
There was a young boy called Nicholas Bramble, who was 16, who was killed in a police chase. He was on a moped, and the police decided that he had stolen the moped and chased him, and he was really frightened, and he turned around like to look at them or something and crashed into something and died. And the police afterwards denied that they were even there until he crashed, although millions of people saw it,
Have the authorities gotten in touch with you about this song? I mean, they couldn't have been too happy about it, I suppose.
No, it's not the same as America. I think people are allowed to express themselves in England.
People are allowed to express themselves here, don't you think?
Well, I think you ask the 2 Live crew.
True, but that's not America, that's Florida.
Well, that's in America.
Well, I understand. I've seen you a picture with an NWA T-shirt, and I know you're...
It's PWA, but I very much admire NWA. I like them very much.
Because their new record has a song, it's essentially totally about oral sex, and it refers to women as bitches and whores and stuff like that. And I wonder if that puts you, that aspect of the music, which I like their music too, but I wonder if that aspect of that puts you off at all, or if you just assume it's part of their culture and they're expressing
because
it.
as a person, forgetting that I am in any way in the public eye, as a person, I like it and I think it's quite funny. I don't agree with it, and I don't think that it's right for people necessarily to talk about people like that. But as a woman, I find it quite amusing. I actually find it quite funny, And a lot of the things they say are true as well, But
which things are those?
As a public persona, I wouldn't, say to people, yes, that's right or that's wrong or anything else. But you have to admire their music, and you have to admire the fact that they make the records that they make far better than anybody else does,
Yeah.
And they should be allowed to express themselves, and people have good feelings and bad feelings, and each are important.
You must have gone and listened to that stuff after you bailed out of Saturday Night Live.
Well, obviously I listened to it before I bailed out.
Oh. What did you make of it?
I just thought it was stupid. I didn't think it was in any way intelligent. At least NWA expressed themselves intelligently, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that it would be irresponsible of me to endorse it by appearing with him, because if some young boy, for example, is watching me on the television and thinks I'm great, like, and is in any way influenced by me, then he'll probably think that it's fine to go around, you know, slagging off women and everything else. And that's why I would also say that although I like NWA for what they do, I wouldn't say that I think what they say is correct or what they say is incorrect. You know what I mean? It's like...
I mean, do you think what they're saying expresses an attitude that we'd be better off without? I mean, even the music is great.
It expresses attitudes that exist, whether or not we'd be better off without them or not. The fact is that that's what life is like for a lot of people, and we can't ignore it.
Do you finally come to the conclusion that Americans are totally puritanical and about 100 years behind the times?
I just get confused because I watch MTV a lot of the time, and I watch VH1 a lot of the time, and I see all sorts of videos on. I see Billy Idol videos, I see Aerosmith, I see Guns N' Roses, and I hear the same sort of abuse and oppression coming from them as people are giving out about the Two Live crew, you know what I mean? And I don't understand why they're not attacked and they're not slated, and I think that the reason for it must be because they're black. I think that rap and hip-hop is a threat to people because it's so popular and because it passes information on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
but who are responsible for this would, of course, argue that it's not racism, it's they're using words that we shouldn't be using.
Well, who says who should be using what words? If you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it, and that's fine. And of course, you know, I respect anybody's, you know, decision to do whatever that they want, you know what I mean? But equally, they should respect other people's right to say whatever they feel. I don't see what's so particularly wrong with saying me so horny, you know? It's, you know, what about that Billy Idol video? It's some 14-year-old girl, like, you know, taking all her clothes off in some man's apartment. You know? What about the Heart song about picking up strangers and getting pregnant? You know what I mean? It's like young girls hitchhiking all over America. You know, that's really dangerous.
Had been so preoccupied with having children that maybe she missed out on sort of realizing her own potential. I wonder if you ever worry about that yourself?
No, I think that they're very important for me and for somebody like me to have grounding and to have something that's outside all this, because all this is unreal. It's not real life, you know what I mean? And it's very easy to get tricked into thinking that it is, and it's really important to have a real life and a real family and everything else, you know what I mean? But I think that in general, a lot of women, although there's nothing wrong with having babies, it's brilliant, you know, and it's great, but I think that they should also have their own lives and do their own things as well, you know, and a lot of the time they don't, although I suppose they do more so now, but like 20 years ago, they didn't really, you know.
That's hard for a lot of people to do, too, I would imagine.
Well, you're always brought up to feel guilty if you don't stay at home minding your child 24 hours a day.
Is your son pretty much inured to the show business life now? Is he an old hand going out on the road?
Well, no, I mean, I took him on tour when I was here in April, and he got very unruly. You know, it's very unhealthy for a child to hang around with adults all the time, you know, and not have a normal life, and I shouldn't really drag him around having the same experiences that I'm having, you know. When he was walking up and down planes, using abusive language at people and things like that, so I thought I'd better send him back to school. You know.
Does your being well known affect his life at all, or do you try to ensure that it doesn't?
I don't think it does. I can't see how it would, and because to him it's no big deal. Like, he doesn't know the difference between me and anybody else. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Imagine people don't think of you usually as hip-hopping around a lot, but do you go out to clubs and dance and stuff like that?
No, I'm not really a dancer.
Oh.
I would, except I'm embarrassingly bad, and I'd be thrown out.
Maybe it's the shoes. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Sinead O'Connor, a woman who definitely has the courage of her convictions. But what you're wondering about all this controversy about not wanting the national anthem played before her shows, we talked to Sinead yesterday about this, and here's what she had to say. O'Connor, Sinead, you've been your life has been completely consumed for the last couple of weeks with this Frank Sinatra national anthem thing. What's it all about? Do you understand what's happening?
I think that people just believe what they're told by the newspapers, and I think that people misinterpreted completely what I was trying to say and the point that I was trying to make, and went a bit over the top about it.
What was the actual point?
Well, the first point that I was trying to make, although, you know, it's not a big deal as far as I'm concerned, I wasn't trying to offend anybody, and I actually said that, like, I made a statement saying that that I don't see what national anthems have to do with music, and secondly, as I spoke to you before about this, that I feel very strongly about censorship, and I didn't want to go on stage after the national anthem of a country that's imposing censorship on friends of mine, you know. But it's not a disrespect to people, it's the system, you know. and it's the same for any country. I said that I wouldn't go on stage after the national anthem of my own country, you know, since they don't allow divorce, you know. It'd be the same thing. It's, you know.
But then suddenly Frank Sinatra gets into this. I mean, what did you think when you heard that Frank was after you?
Well, I think old Frank probably needs a bit of publicity, you know.
Sinead O'Connor, she's going to be performing here a little later, so do stay tuned. We've still got interviews with Axl Rose, one you won't believe, and John Bon Jovi at home in New Jersey, so do stay tuned. We'll be right back.